to my channel. I don't know why I had to wave. I always do that. It's so awkward. I need to get less awkward starting this. Welcome back. I hope that you're doing well. Happy December. As you can tell, it's very Christmassy over here. We actually had the Christmas tree up in our last video and it was November, and I have no shame in putting up my decorations in November. Because I like Christmas. The cat is attacking, but there. Thank you. So many distractions. Anyway, as it is December, that means the start of Christmas content, which means not much is going to change apart from we'll talk about Christmas more and have festive things in the background, and I'll dress fairly festively, although I also think that I wore this dress a few weeks ago too when it was November, even though it's technically a Christmassy colour. Enough of that. In today's video, we're going to talk about some of our favorite things to do in December, but obviously not just our favorite things. I'm going to talk about things that I used to do in the UK and like some of the UK traditions, and then Mike is going to talk about some of the Canadian traditions and some of the things that he has grown up doing as well. Because even though Canada and the UK might feel similar, they have a lot of things that are different, and I feel like when it comes to Christmas, there was a lot that I found that was surprisingly different. There were a lot of similarities, but also a lot of things that are different. So today, we're just gonna talk through a few of those things that we have grown up doing in our respective countries and just talk about some of the differences and some of the similarities. And if you have any like cool December traditions that you do with your family, if you're from different places other than Canada or the UK, or if you feel like we've missed anything, it would be so cool to hear about them. So let us know down below. But first, we're gonna do something very important before we get into the video, and that is advent calendars. Here's yours. This is a Rogers one. This is from the local Victoria chocolate shop.
Chocolatier. Yeah, the local Victoria.
It's
they've
so
been here
pretty
for
though.
100-ish years or so.
What are you gonna get? Where's number?
Number 4. I gotta find it. Here it is.
Okay.
Ooh, silver packaging today.
That's a fancy one. That's a fancy advent calendar. We never had anything like that as a kid. That's felt like a doll. That's so awesome. Very nice. This is the one that Mike got me from the British store. Oh my gosh. Brits, you're gonna absolutely die when you hear how expensive this was. Do I want to tell you? Yes. This was $20 plus tax. I know. I can hear your sighs and your gasps, but it was worth it, okay? Honestly, this brings me great joy. I'm gonna try and find which one is for today. Oh, here we go. Found it. Ooh, the best one. Dairy milk. No, that's mine. Okay, so I think the first tradition that comes to mind from England in December, like in the build up to Christmas, would be the Christmas tree lighting in towns. So like every town would have a big Christmas tree, and they would have a lighting ceremony or like a party where you'd get some kind of B-list celebrity to come and turn on the lights, and there'd be like a concert, there'd be like things going on. I feel most towns in England had that. It was a very big deal. Everyone would go out. It was like really, really fun. Also, we would do, if anyone's been to Haworth, there was this light festival that we would go to, and you had these candles and you'd walk through town, and there'd be a carol service. It was very Christmassy. So a lot of those kind of light switching on, light festivals, those kind of carol services especially, I think carol services are big, in England would be like what we would do. Is that, I don't know if that's really the same in Canada. I don't think the lighting festivals are the same.
In small towns and bigger cities, mainly in the States, like if you think of New York City, they'll always do a lighting of the big tree, like in Rockefeller Center and that sort of thing, and you have them in small towns throughout Canada too.
Rockefeller is America, US. That's not Canada.
Yeah, no, I'm talking North America.
America's like
here they just the trees all of a sudden just have lights on them. I haven't really seen, I mean, this is in Victoria and where I'm from, I haven't really seen like a thing where people gather and then they come for the lighting of this.
Yeah, I don't know if they have one in Toronto.
Some do. Some towns do.
Do they have one in Toronto? We never went to it.
We never went to it if they did, and it wasn't advertised well.
Maybe it was and we were just oblivious.
Maybe. Or it was too cold, one of the two.
True. I feel like it's not much of a big deal, and I don't think there was any kind of celebrity that would come turn them on.
Not that I can remember. I mean,
like
maybe.
In Victoria, in Victoria we have like the big provincial Christmas tree, and one day it just turned on.
Yeah, there wasn't like an event associated with it, and that might be because of COVID. We've only been here since COVID, so.
But there is another tradition that I feel Canada and I guess North America in general have that the UK doesn't have as much of.
Oh, Santa Claus parades.
I feel like this is the equivalent of the Christmas lights turn on.
Yeah, we do. Every town, community that I'm familiar with has a Santa Claus parade. When I was a kid, it always used to be it was in November when I was a kid. It was like the last week of November.
Celebrate Christmas early.
Which is odd. It was never
early.
in December, but it was usually it would be local charity groups. They'd put together a float, or it would be families who built a float for the parade. And then there's always Santa, who's often my neighbor, who just got dressed up. And I didn't, when I was a kid, when I believed in Santa, still do.
Santa's
my mom
real?
used to have to hide me in the basement so I wouldn't look out the window and see our neighbor dressed as Santa get into his car to go to the parade.
That's so. He's just one of Santa's employees. Yeah. He's just a helper. Don't tell me that Santa isn't real.
He was my neighbor, so
Santa's coming. I know him.
Always in the good books.
Elf, by the way, if you don't know that quote.
Yeah, Toronto has a big Santa Claus parade.
That's really cool. Now, Toronto's is really cool. It's very big. I'm not a huge crowd fan, but the one year that we did see it, we went to, and this is a pro tip, we went to the Royal Ontario Museum, the ROM, and you can see, the ROM kind of overlooks one of the streets where the parade goes down, and you can see it inside, away from the crowds, and in the warmth. Yeah. So if you do want to go see the Santa Claus, I don't know if it's already happened, but
I don't remember when it is.
If it hasn't been, or if you're going to go in the future, highly recommend booking a ticket to go to the ROM that day and viewing it from the window in the ROM, because we did that and it was definitely a lot better. But that was really cool. But yeah, I think the Victoria Santa Claus parade is a bit different. It is more like local, like charities and local businesses and families will build like floats and stuff. I would really love to do that at one point. There was also a truck parade. So there was a Santa Claus parade last weekend, and then this weekend, I think it's today actually, or yesterday, there was the truck parade where I assume a load of trucks get dressed up in lights and go down. But yeah, parades are definitely big. I think perhaps the Macy's parade at Thanksgiving is like the kickoff. Yeah. And then after that, there's like a lot of parades and things. So yeah, that's really funny about your neighbor though, dressing up as Santa, because when I was a kid in primary school, we used to have Santa Claus come and deliver gifts to all the children in school. I grew up in a very small village school, and the Santa Claus was my dad. My dad dressed up as Santa, and I knew that obviously as a kid, and I remember him being like, you can't tell anyone because I'm just like hired by Santa, like I'm just helping him out. And I remember being like, I know who Santa is, he's my dad, as like this 6-year-old. Yeah, good times. I was about to say actually that another big tradition here, I think, is getting your picture taken with Santa Claus in the shopping mall, but we do have it in the UK. Now I do remember, so I can't say that is a tradition that is purely North American or British. I feel like they're fancier here, and people go and take pictures and put them on their Christmas cards. I feel like that is a big deal here. That, if you're a Brit, you know, the cheesy, like, all the family get together and they get like a fancy photographer and they take a picture and they put it on their family Christmas card and send it out. That is a real thing. It happens. It is a very big deal. And I feel like a lot of people put that picture, especially if they're kids, obviously not if you don't have kids, but if you have kids, I think a lot of people use the Santa Claus image from the mall Santa and use it on their Christmas card. But I'm assuming, I don't know, did you ever do like the family Christmas card picture?
Not for a card. We didn't. I think other people did though. I think it is a thing.
I was gonna say,
we never did it. We took the family photo, but that was it.
I'm so sad because I never saw that. I was like, I'd never asked you that question either. So you never had like the family Christmas card?
Not that I remember.
Oh, that's so sad.
I mean, we did 2 years ago when we did it with the cats.
Okay, but we did that though. We made fun of the whole thing by just like doing a stupid one with us and the cats. We've done it for 2 years now. I'll probably do it again this year.
Probably.
But yeah, I feel like I've seen, maybe it's more coming like in our generation that people are starting to do it again, like have professional pictures taken. That is not a thing in the UK, but the mall Santa or the shopping centre Santa picture is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. Oh, another one from the UK. I think you do have this in Canada, but I don't think it's on the same level as in the UK. But Christmas pantomimes, huge. And they're not Christmas themed. They're just, if you've ever seen a pantomime, it's kind of, how do you describe a pantomime? Pantomimes are like these fairy tales made into musicals in the theatre, and there is like a dame and a main character, and they're very kind of like audience friendly. They're kind of aimed at kids, and they're very funny, and there's lots of really cool like little jokes in it. And yeah, I feel like that's a big thing to do this time of year. I don't know if it's December or if it would be like November to January, but over that time we would always, when I was a kid, we would go to see the local pantomime.
Yeah, ours, we didn't have that. I didn't anyway. Ours would be classic production shows that would come back into theater, like the Nutcracker was a big one.
Oh, like ballet. That's
like
a big
ballet,
one. Yeah, in
Toronto would always have that on for a month. They'd actually run it right through into January, I think it would be on.
That's really cool. I like the idea of like
Yeah.
Christmas ballet, because the Nutcracker is obviously Christmas themed, but I feel like ballet doesn't have the same, like the audience is not the same. Like I feel like a pantomime is aimed at pretty much anyone and everyone, but ballet is very kind of classical and aimed at a specific kind of
Yeah, I'm sure
genre of
pantomimes exist. I'm sure they're
Yeah,
here in smaller
definitely.
theaters and everything. I wasn't
It's not
at
big
them
of a
as a
deal.
kid. It's not as big.
I've never actually seen the ballet. I should probably go. I should have gone when I was living in Toronto. Oh, that was a missed opportunity. One of my favorite traditions, not necessarily growing up, but when I kind of got to past high school, was going to the local German Christmas market. So if you've never been to the UK at Christmas time, I don't know if most, but a lot of big cities have Christmas markets, and many of them are like German themed. So ones that come to mind, at my local one would have been Leeds. That was always a big one. Birmingham has a really, really cool German Christmas market. And we would often go during the day for like lunch, and you can get like pretzels, and there's mulled wine and mead, and you can get all the like beautiful German Christmas decorations, like the wooden ornaments and things like that. And yeah, that was a big deal. And then obviously at nighttime there was like a beer tent. It's not a tent, it was a structure. It was like a hall, and then people would go and have, you know, your German beers, and you'd have your hot dogs and things. They're not called hot dogs. What are they called?
Like bratwurst?
Yeah, the fancy hot dogs. And things like that. That was like a very, very Christmassy, like night out day to do, I think. But I don't think German Christmas markets really exist here.
We have Christmas markets. I don't know if they brand them as German though. And there are German elements to them.
Yeah, actually.
Toronto has one in the distillery district.
I don't think
every
you
year.
call it a German Christmas market though.
They just call it the Toronto Christmas Market. They've
Similar
got little
idea,
huts,
though.
like
Yeah,
little,
like
like
the
gingerbread
little-
brown huts.
Are they gingerbreads, or are they log cabins?
Maybe log cabins, something like that.
They're
They're
very
just like little
cute,
wooden
though.
cabins, and they've all got, whether they're craft booths or whether it's food.
Yeah.
They've got that, and I think that's German in style. And I think that's what they were after,
Probably,
because they
yeah.
were serving mulled wine and Jägermeister one year. So I think that's what it was. I think that's what they were after.
I don't know if that defines a German Christmas market.
It doesn't, but I mean, as far as
it's
trying
very
to-
Christmassy.
Yeah.
It's kind of Canadian Christmassy, because I feel like it's more like log cabin-y. I'd have to look this up. I don't know if they call it a German Christmas market. I never referred to it as that. It was just like the Toronto Distillery Market, or Distillery Christmas Market.
Yeah, they didn't brand it as German.
And it's in the Distillery District. If you've never been to Toronto, that's probably one of the most beautiful places in Toronto. It's so cute and quaint. It's so weird though, because in the week, you don't have to pay to go in, but at the weekend they started charging because it gets so busy. So if you are going to go, I definitely recommend going in the week, because
Yeah,
it is,
during the week is good.
a lot quieter. But yeah, that was actually really good. Also, Vancouver has a Christmas market. It looked quite similar. I don't know if that's branded as a German Christmas market, but it is very like Christmassy and quaint and cute. But yeah, I feel like that tradition is kind of similar but different. But the Christmas markets, there's lots of like farmers' Christmas markets, which are similar to like the Christmas craft fairs in the UK. That was another big thing I think growing up. And going to, especially because like my dad used to work on the craft fairs. There are similarities but also differences. I think they're more like farmers markets here. We went to a Christmas market the other day in Sydney, and they branded it as like the Christmas market, and we went, and it was basically the exact same vendors as what would be there in the summer in the farmers market.
All the vendors had Santa hats on them.
So it was kind of just the same as the summer one, but it was cold.
Pouring rain.
But yeah, so not really the same, but still cute. Still cute. I guess another big tradition in the UK would be decorating a Christmas tree, obviously, if you celebrate Christmas. we always had a fake tree growing up. I don't know, I feel like a lot of people in England have fake trees, but if they don't, they would get them from the local garden centre. We never had a real tree. No, we had a real tree when I was like 1, I think, but I don't remember it. But we always had a fake tree.
We did not have a fake tree. My grandma did, but we always had a real tree growing up.
Oh yeah, I feel like the Christmas tree, like the getting of the Christmas tree is a big deal here. If you've ever seen Lampoon's Family Christmas.
That is exactly what it's like.
Gotta be the biggest and the best tree.
You can get them. You can't get them from the supermarket and garden centers. They have pre-cuts, and usually with the pre-cuts, they send them down from Quebec, where they cut them in the spring, and then the cap reseals it, so they stay nice. They don't lose their leaves. I only know this because I worked at a Christmas tree farm.
I love how there is a science to the Christmas tree. So if you get ones from the garden centre, they're cut in the summer so all the sap is in the tree and they don't drop as many needles. That's what your dad likes to go. I think a lot of people go to the Christmas tree farm, like where you worked, which is totally different, but like it's more of an experience, right?
When people go in the winter to cut their tree with the family, it's not just going out and cutting a tree down. It's like a day.
The experience. So it doesn't matter if your pine needles are everywhere.
Yeah.
You get all those cute family photos. It's all about the family photos.
Yeah.
We went to a Christmas tree farm twice. The first year I was in Canada, we went to a Christmas tree farm. Not to cut down a Christmas tree, but just for me to go because Mike's family felt like I needed to have the experience. And it was like super snowy. We went up there. We pretended to cut down a tree. We had like a picture of me like pretending to cut down a tree. And then we left without the tree. Although we did get some nice hot chocolate. That was really fun. But the second year when we had our place in Toronto, we got a real tree. Because your parents usually got them from the garden centre because it dropped less needles.
Yeah.
But we got our first real tree, technically my only real tree, from the tree farm in Erin.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
And that was so much fun. Yeah. So you like go, you bring like your saw, you go around the Christmas tree farm. I'm pretty sure there is Christmas tree farms in England, but it's not the same because in Canada it's like snowy and nice and like what you worked at Christmas tree farm. What would be the day? I don't know why I'm explaining this.
You go, there's always a hay bale wagon, either pulled by a tractor or horses that take you, usually a tractor because it's muddy. They take you into the back. You find your tree, you get dropped off, then there's a gift shop where you can buy other decorations. But then they've got fires going outside there's always a hot dog stand.
You make roasted marshmallows.
Yeah, do marshmallows. You can get hot cider. Sometimes there's tobogganing if it's snowing.
Oh yeah, we brought a sleigh, like a little pulley toboggan when we went.
Yeah, and then you buy your tree and then out you go. So I mean, it's really like a 3-hour, it's a day.
Definitely is
It's a day.
And your tree price is determined by how big it is. We just got a small
usually
one.
It's like done by the foot, and anything over 6 feet is like a flat rate. And then you get to bale it and wrap it in net, which is a lot of fun. That's what I used to do. Put it through the thing.
You're so Canadian. So painfully Canadian.
I'd go home smelling like pine
smell
tree
is really
and
good,
sap.
though.
My fingers would be sticky all night.
Ew.
It's great.
Anyway, another tradition I can think of in the UK that I guess picked up back in my 20s. I remember doing it in school once, but I definitely picked it back up in my 20s, is making Christmas cake. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Christmas cake between Canada and the UK, the Christmas cake, or I guess fruit cake as you call it,
fruit cake, yeah,
very different. In Canada, they have light and dark fruit cake, and it's more kind of cake with fruit in, and they use glacé cherries, like red and green glacé cherries. They don't ice it or anything. It's very weird, very dry. No offense to Canada, it's not that great, in my opinion. But in the UK, it's very dense and moist, even though I hate using that word. It's kind of just like fruit bound with flour. And it has a lot of brandy in it, usually. So I usually make mine in November and then feed it throughout December and ice it and put marzipan on it. And another weird thing about Canada is that it's impossible to find icing and marzipan in Canada. I have no idea why it is, but for some reason, I think it's just because cakes are not really iced with fondant icing here. They're iced with like frosting, which is kind of like, if you're from the UK, the Betty Crocker stuff you get in the tubs. Is kind of what most cakes are iced with. So you cannot go into the grocery store and find fondant icing. I'm sure I could make it, but instead I just choose to buy it online and ship it from the UK for a ridiculous price. Worth it though, I only do it once a year. So yeah, I don't make Christmas pudding, but Christmas cake is definitely a tradition that I've picked up. And then you have to it's very much a labor of love. You have to then marzipan it with apricot jam underneath, marzipan, leave it for a day for it to dry. Then you put your icing on, leave it, smooth it out. Then you put like your decorations on. It's very like that, the icing part of it is very stressful for me. I feel like it always goes wrong, but definitely worth it. I love it. But yeah, I think that's like, you don't really have Christmas cake here. It's not really a thing.
No, it was fruit cake as a kid. I never really liked it.
Is it a Christmas thing?
That or Easter, maybe.
We have it.
I don't remember now. It wasn't really. I never really ate it as a kid. My dad didn't like it when I was younger, just because it was. I mean, for me, it just had too many things in it.
Yeah, fruitcake is one of those things that you
I'll eat
kind
it
of love
now.
or hate.
I love it now.
You kind of love or hate it.
But I prefer Christmas cake now because of the icing, the marzipan.
I think fruitcake is kind of a love or hate thing, or Christmas cake. We would call it Christmas cake. We do have like the Easter simnel cake, which is kind of similar but different. But yeah, I think it's a lot bigger in England. You can't really buy an iced Christmas cake in Canada, but you can get that weird fruit cake that they have. So yeah, same with mince pies. You know, I guess you have mince pies. You call them mince meat pies.
Yep.
But they're not the same. I feel like the English ones are way more alcoholic. I don't know what that says about us as a country. Okay, and I think the last tradition I can think of for December, I'm sure there's many that I've missed because I feel as though the Christmas run-up is definitely my favorite and there's a lot more that I'm sure I'm missing. But the next thing, and I guess the final thing I can think of, is watching Christmas movies. And I think the one in England that would be kind of like the Christmas movie to watch. This is so subjective though. I can't say this because everyone's going to be like, no, you should choose Elf, you should choose this. Okay, I'm going to do two very British Christmas movies would be Love Actually and The Holiday. And I guess The Holiday is actually a mix of England and the US, but I feel like those two movies are the movies that you would watch in the run-up to Christmas.
Ours is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
I had never watched this movie, by the way, before moving here. I'd never even heard of it. Am I living under a rock? I'm not sure. Is it just a thing here? It is like the dumbest humor. It's actually quite funny. And now we do watch that every year, but...
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Is it Canadian?
Go watch that if you haven't watched it. No, it's American. It's American, but it's got... Everybody I know has seen it.
It is actually
from
quite
their
good.
childhood, yeah.
And there's always, they have, like, everybody kind of quotes it, and there's, like, loads of merchandise you can
quotable.
still get. It's kind of like the Home Alone. Home Alone is another big one, but that's more of like a, I don't know, everybody watches that, but...
Yeah.
It is actually quite funny. Oh, I've thought of one more, actually. And I think this is definitely bigger in Canada than in the UK, but, like, decorating your house with Christmas lights would be a big thing. Here, it's like something else, though. I feel like they all think that they're in competition with each other.
It is here. Watch Christmas Vacation.
Everything that you want to know. Christmas trees, decorating the lights, Christmas Vacation
Watch
has
the
it all.
movie.
That will tell you everything you need to know about Christmas in North America. But yeah, I think Christmas light decorate. Did you decorate your house for Christmas lights?
Very subtly. It wasn't overdone. It was just subtle decorations.
There was this one near Mike's parents' place though, and it was the most insane thing. They had all of these Christmas tree lights out, and they were kind of flashing at weird times. And on the front of it, I had a sign, and it was like, "Tune into this radio station." And I was like, "What?" And his parents tuned it in because they knew what was going to happen. And the music came on, and all of the lights matched the music on the radio station because obviously he'd got made his own radio station. It was like so cool. I don't know how they did it, but that was probably the coolest Christmas tree, Christmas light decoration I've ever seen. And they had all these things in the yard, and all the lights were flashing at the same time, and the music would change and everything would change, and they had moving stuff. That must have taken them ages. Yeah.
My goal is to find one of those here.
Yeah, it's a serious thing. Christmas tree lights and also Halloween decorations. I think people love to decorate here for sure. I think that's all what we've got. I can't think of any other December one, but we are going to be back for part 2 of this for Christmas traditions. So Christmas traditions in the UK and Christmas traditions in Canada. Maybe next week, maybe the week after, not quite sure. But yeah, if you enjoyed this one, stick around because we are going to talk more about the Christmas, the Christmas day, all those 3 days, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day, because I feel like they are really different too. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel. As I said, I post videos every single week, so if you enjoyed this video and you hit the notification bell, you'll be reminded reminded next time I post another video, which would be awesome. And if you have a question or comment, don't forget to leave it down below. I do try to get back to everybody, and if I can't answer your question, I will try to find somebody who can. Also though, I found that a lot of people are helping each other out, which is really, really cool. So if I can't answer a question and I don't know how to answer your question, there will probably be someone else who can. Until my next one, I hope you have the most wonderful day, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.